Feel that. Before we speak of the moon or the stars or the ancient contracts that are now coming due, I need you to feel that in your body. It is not in your mind. Your mind has been trying to name it for weeks, perhaps months, and has failed. It calls it anxiety or restlessness or fatigue. It is none of those things. It is something older, something deeper. Place your hand on your lower back, on the space just above your hips. There is a tightness there, is there not? A subtle, persistent ache that does not yield to stretching or to rest. For some of you, it is a heat that gathers behind your navel, a low, churning fire you mistake for indigestion. For others, it is in the jaw, a clenching in your sleep, a tension you carry into the day that makes your own voice sound strained. This is not random. This is not the byproduct of stress. This is evidence. It is the first tremor of a vast geological shift that is happening not in the earth beneath your feet, but in the architecture of your life. Your body, which is wiser and more honest than your mind will ever be, has registered the coming alignment. It knows that within the next 48 hours, a light will be cast into the most shadowed corners of your world. And that light is the full moon in the sign of the scales, in Libra. This is not just any full moon. This is a moment of cosmic reckoning, a final weighing. And your body, your beautiful, truthful body, has been bracing for the verdict. It has been holding the imbalance for you, carrying the weight of a truth you have not yet been willing to carry yourself. Stay with me. Do not turn away. What is happening in your body is a sacred summons, and I am going to walk you through what it means and what you must do before this gate closes. The last time a celestial pressure like this was applied to the axis of self and other, entire dynasties fell, not by the sword, but by the weight of a single, whispered truth in a royal court. The ancient sky watchers, the Chaldeans, they did not see a set of scales in this constellation. They saw the claws of the scorpion, a grasping, a holding, a point of inescapable decision. The Romans, who gave it the name we use today, LIBRA, saw the scales of justice held by Astrea, the virgin goddess who fled the earth when humanity became too corrupt, taking her divine instruments with her. They believed that at certain moments, under certain skies, she would lean back down from the heavens, not to judge humanity, but to offer them a chance to judge themselves, to see the truth of their own measures. This is one of those moments. The sun, blazing with the fire of pure selfhood in Aries, is crying out across the sky, "What do I want?" It is a primal, honest, and gloriously selfish question. It is the spark of life itself. And directly opposite, filling the night sky with its pale, clarifying light, the moon in Libra answers not with a question, but with a reflection. It does not speak. It reveals. It holds up a perfectly polished mirror to the sun's fire and shows it not what it wants, but what its wanting has cost. It shows the other side of the ledger. It illuminates the compromises, the bargains, the treaties, the silent agreements, the relationships that have been shaped or bent or broken by the force of that solar will. This is the fundamental tension you are feeling in your bones. It is the pull between your sovereign self and your sacred contracts. And this full moon is bringing that tension to a point of climax. It is a celestial intervention designed to expose a fundamental imbalance that you can no longer afford to carry. The universe is not a gentle bookkeeper. When the accounts are this far out of alignment, it does not send a polite notice. It sends an earthquake. The trembling you feel is the beginning of that quake. It is a mercy. It is a warning. It is a chance to find solid ground before the great dissolving begins. Think of the Egyptian underworld, the Hall of Two Truths. Anubis leads the soul of the deceased to a great golden scale. On one side, he places their heart. On the other, a single white feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth, order, and cosmic balance. If the heart is heavy with deceit, with regret, with unspoken truths and cowardly compromises, it will plummet, and the soul will be devoured. But if the heart is light, if it is honest, if it has lived in alignment with its own nature, it will balance against the feather. This is not a judgment of good or evil. The gods are not interested in your morality. They are interested in your integrity. They are asking, did you live the life that was yours to live? Did you honor the weight of your own soul? This Libra full moon is that scale, and it is not weighing you after death. It is weighing you now in the vibrant, messy, beautiful chaos of your life. It is placing your heart on one side of the scale, and on the other? On the other, it is placing a relationship. It is placing that business partnership. It is placing that family dynamic. It is placing that silent promise you made to someone 10 years ago. It is placing the way you speak to yourself when no one is listening. It is taking every significant agreement, spoken and unspoken, and it is weighing it against the truth of your heart. And it is going to show you, with blinding, irrefutable clarity, where the balance is off. It will show you what has become heavier than your own soul. You have been pretending not to notice. You have been adding counterweights, haven't you? You tell yourself it's not that bad. You tell yourself that this is just what love or family or duty requires. You numb the ache with distraction. You rationalize the tension in your jaw as stress. You blame the churning in your gut on something you ate. You have become an expert at managing the imbalance, at walking with a spiritual limp and calling it strength. You have been propping up one side of the scale with justifications, with hopes for a future that will never arrive, with the ghost of a person who no longer exists, all so you do not have to face the terrifying truth that the scales are hopelessly, fundamentally tipped. A voice has been whispering to you in the quiet hours of the night. This is not it. You hear it when a certain person's name appears on your phone. You hear it when you walk into your home after a long day and the silence feels heavier than sound. You hear it when you achieve something you thought you wanted and the thrill dissolves into a familiar, hollow ache in your chest. This is not it. That is not the voice of doubt. That is not your fear talking. That is the voice of Ma'at. That is the sound of your own heart telling you that it is too heavy. It is the sound of the scales groaning under a weight they were never meant to bear. This full moon is going to take that whisper and turn it into a roar. It will not be a voice you hear with your ears. It will be a knowing that lands in your body with the force of a physical blow. The ancient Persians had a concept, asha, propping up their own side with their own illusions. This is not about confrontation in the way the world understands it, a battle of wills, a shouting match, a listing of grievances. That is the drama of the ego. The work of this full moon is deeper. It is about clarity, a devastating, liberating clarity. It is the moment a prisoner realizes the door to their cell has been unlocked the entire time. The terror is not in the leaving. The terror is in the realization of how long you chose to stay. Feel it again in your body. That tightness in your hips. The hips are the seat of your emotional and creative power. They are the bowl that holds your life force. When they are tight, it is because you are holding on. You are clenching against the natural flow of your own life, resisting a change that is trying to be born through you. You are bracing for an impact that has, in many ways, already happened. The relationship has already ended. The job has already died. The dream has already soured. The full moon is not the executioner. It is merely the coroner, arriving to pronounce the time of death on something you have been trying to keep alive with your own precious energy. And the heat in your solar plexus, just above the navel. This is your center of will, of power, of identity. It is the Aries fire in your own body. That churning is the fire of your own sovereignty fighting against the damp, heavy blanket of a compromise that is suffocating it. It is your will, trying to burn through the ropes of a false peace. You have called it peace, but it has not been peaceful, has it? It has been a ceasefire, a tense, exhausting negotiation where the only term of surrender is your own authenticity. You have been paying for this peace with the currency of your own life force, and your account is now overdrawn. The universe is calling in the debt. Let me tell you about the nature of Libra's justice. It is not punitive. It is restorative. The goal is not to punish the wicked or reward the virtuous. The goal is to restore equilibrium. When a boat is taking on water, its purpose is not to blame the whole. Its purpose is to get the water out and right the ship. Your life, your energy field, your very soul has been taking on water. You have been bailing frantically, pretending you are merely sailing in rough seas, when in fact you have been slowly, steadily sinking under the weight of this imbalance. This full moon is the wave that will finally wash over the deck, forcing you to acknowledge the leak. It will force you to choose. Do you patch the hole, or do you abandon the ship and swim for a new shore? Sometimes patching the hole is the answer. It requires a radical honesty. It requires a conversation that you have been rehearsing in your mind for years, but have never dared to speak. It requires drawing a boundary not as a wall to keep someone out, but as a circle to keep yourself in. It requires you to finally present your terms, to state your needs not as requests, but as requirements for your continued presence. It is a renegotiation of the contract based on the truth that the full moon reveals. But for many of you listening to my voice right now, the truth is more stark. You know it, deep down. You have known it for a long time. The ship cannot be saved. The structure is rotten. The contract was flawed from its inception. You have been trying to renegotiate with a ghost, trying to find balance in a dynamic that is predicated on your imbalance. It says, this is not a partnership. This is a hostage situation, and you are both the hostage and the guard. The clarity that is coming for you is not about how to fix it. It is the profound, soul-shattering, and ultimately liberating permission to let it go. To simply let it sink. This is the great reversal statement of this celestial event. You believe the pain is in the ending. That is the lie your fear has told you. The pain has been in the holding on. The pain has been the slow tearing of your soul, the daily betrayal of your own inner truth. The ending is not the wound. The ending is the medicine. The separation is not the amputation. It is the setting of a bone that has been broken for far too long. It will hurt. Of course it will hurt. Healing is not a painless process, but it is a clean pain, a purposeful pain, a pain that leads to strength, not to decay. The pain you are in now is the dull, septic ache of a wound that will not close. Over the next 3 days, as the moon swells to its perfect, luminous fullness, you are being invited into a sacred ritual of truth and restoration. This is not passive. You cannot simply wait for the revelation to strike you. You must participate. You must become the priestess in the temple of your own life, the judge in the hall of your own heart. You must be willing to place your own heart upon the scales. On the first day, the day before the moon is exact, you will find 2 small, identical pieces of paper. This is the ritual of the weighing. You will need to be alone, in a space where you will not be disturbed. Sit comfortably with your feet on the floor. Take one piece of paper in your left hand, your receiving hand. On this paper, you will write a single word or a short phrase that represents your own truth, your sovereign self, your deepest unspoken need in this situation. It could be freedom. It could be honesty. It could be my peace. It could be my art. Do not overthink it. Write the first thing that rises from the churning in your gut. This paper represents your heart. Now, take the second piece of paper in your right hand, your giving hand. On this paper, you will write the name of the person, the situation, the contract that represents the other side of the scale. It could be a person's name. It could be my job. It could be my family's expectation. It could be the fear of being alone. Be ruthlessly honest. Name the counterweight. Now, close your eyes. Hold your hands out in front of you, palms up, as if they are the two pans of a scale. Feel the physical reality of these two pieces of paper. They weigh almost nothing, and yet they contain everything. Breathe. And for the next 10 minutes, simply notice. Notice what happens in your body. Does one hand feel heavier than the other? Does one arm begin to ache? Does a feeling of heat or cold rise in one side of your body? Does your breath catch when you focus on your left hand? Does your jaw clench when you focus on your right? Do not judge what you feel. Do not analyze it. Simply observe. Your body knows the truth. Your body will show you the imbalance. This is not a metaphor. You are performing a sacred act of somatic divination. You are allowing your nervous system to tell a truth your mind has been denying. At the end of the 10 minutes, open your eyes. Write down on a separate sheet of paper what you felt, without interpretation, just the raw data of your body's testimony. Then, fold both papers and keep them somewhere safe. On the second day, the night of the full moon itself, you will perform the ritual of the verdict. If you can, go outside under the light of the moon. If you cannot, sit by a window where you can see it. Take the two folded papers from the day before. Hold them again, but this time, hold them together in both hands, pressed against your heart. Close your eyes. Reconnect with the feeling of the scales. Remember the testimony of your body. Now, you must speak the verdict aloud. It does not need to be loud, but it must be spoken. Your voice is the instrument of creation, the gavel that makes the judgment real. You might say, the weight of this silence is heavier than the weight of the truth. Or, the cost of this peace is my own soul. Or, this contract is no longer valid. Speak from the knowing that your body gave you, and then you must make a choice. Based on the truth that has been revealed, you must release one of these papers. You will know which one. It is the one that represents the source of the imbalance, the weight that has become too much to bear. It may be the paper with the other person's name, or it may be the paper with your own fear written on it. Trust the impulse. Take that paper and release it. The ideal way is to burn it safely in a fireproof bowl, watching the smoke carry the old contract up to the moon. As it burns, you will say, I release this contract. I restore the balance. The debt is paid. If you cannot burn it, you can tear it into the smallest possible pieces and bury it in the earth. Or you can dissolve it in a bowl of salt water until the paper turns to pulp. The method is less important than the intention. You are performing a sacred act of severance. You are formally declaring the old terms null and void. The other paper, the one that represents your heart's truth, you will place under your pillow to sleep with through the night. You are realigning yourself with your own asha, your own divine order. On the third day, the day after the full moon, you will complete the work with the ritual of restoration. The scales have been cleared. The old debt has been released. Now, you must establish the new terms. Take the piece of paper that you slept with, the one representing your heart's truth. Unfold it. On the other side of it, you will write a new contract. This is a contract with yourself. It begins with the words, "From this day forward, I vow to honor." And then you will write the terms. They should be simple, clear, and rooted in the body. I vow to honor the truth my body speaks. I vow to honor my need for silence. I vow to honor the fire in my own will. This is not a list of goals. It is a statement of sacred law for your own life. It is your personal constitution. Once you have written it, read it aloud 3 times. Feel the words vibrate in your chest. This is the new frequency you are tuning your life to. Then you must anchor it in the world. You can plant this paper in the soil of a healthy plant so your new contract can grow. You can place it on a small altar in your home, a physical reminder of the new balance. Or you can carry it with you, in your wallet or your pocket, for the next lunar cycle, a constant, tactile reminder of the vow you have made to yourself. Do you understand what is being offered to you? This is not just a passing astrological transit. This is a moment of profound grace. It is a chance to step out of a story that has been draining your life force and to begin writing a new one. It will require courage. The moments after the verdict is read are often the most chaotic. The old structures will begin to dissolve, and you will feel unmoored for a time. That is part of the process. You must be willing to sit in the uncertainty. You must be willing to disappoint people. You must be willing to be seen as selfish or difficult by those who benefited from your imbalance. Remember the blindfolded goddess of justice, Themis. She is blindfolded not to be impartial, but so that she can feel the weight without being distracted by appearances, by stories, by justifications. You must become Themis. You must be willing to close your eyes to the way things have always been, and to trust the undeniable physical sensation of what is true. The people in your life who are meant to be on this new journey with you will respect the new balance. They may be challenged by it, but they will adjust. They will rise to meet you in your truth. Those who cannot, those who fight it, those who try to guilt you back onto the tilted scale, they are revealing that their connection to you was dependent on your self-betrayal. And that is not love. It is not partnership. It is consumption. The path forward will not be easy, but it will be yours. Every step you take in alignment with your own truth will build a new kind of strength in you. The ache in your back will begin to ease, not because the weight is gone, but because you are now carrying a weight that is rightfully yours, the weight of your own destiny. The churning in your gut will calm, replaced by a steady, centered warmth. The tension in your jaw will release, and your voice will find a new resonance, a new clarity, because you are finally speaking your own language. You did not find this message by accident. You did not click a link out of idle curiosity. Something in you, the part that has been whispering, "This is not it," recognized the frequency of this truth before I even spoke the first word. Your soul knew this reckoning was coming, and it guided you here to receive the language and the tools to navigate it. Your presence here is evidence of your readiness. You are brave enough to hear this. You are strong enough to do this. You are not behind. You are not late. You have arrived at this sacred court of your own life at the exact appointed hour. The work is yours to do, but you are not alone. You are held in a vast cosmic intelligence that wants nothing more than for you to return to your own center, to restore your own divine balance. All the forces of heaven and earth are conspiring to support this correction. Your only task is to consent, to stop fighting the tremor and instead to learn its rhythm, to let it shake loose everything that is not built on the bedrock of your truth. In the space below, when you have completed your ritual, or even just in a moment of committing to it, I want you to make a public declaration. Not for me, but for yourself, and as a lighthouse for others. Write the words, "The balance is restored." To write this is to cast a vote for your own soul. It is to anchor your intention in the shared reality of this community. And know this: someone beneath your words, someone who is feeling lost and terrified, will see your declaration and find the courage to make their own. Your act of bravery will ripple out in ways you cannot imagine. I have spent countless hours in stillness, listening to the currents of the sky, studying the ancient texts, and translating these cosmic energies so that the course would be clear for you at this critical threshold. It is my honor to serve as a guide. If this work has served you, subscribe and press the bell so that you do not miss the next transmission. We have much more to walk through together. Now go. Be still. Listen to the wisdom of your own body. The scales are trembling. A great justice is at hand. May your truth be your guide.